Everybody, it's Austin here from Mad Dragon Gaming, and I am here with a great friend of mine. He is the lead singer and bassist for the Small Town Titans, national recording artist, and vocal coach at the Vocal Blueprint, Phil Freeman. How you doing, bud?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, I got a couple questions for you, but we'll start with this one. The Small Town Titans.
Okay.
How did they form?
Okay, so the way that we formed was, well, first of all, we all met at college. We all went to Lebanon Valley. That's near Hershey, Pennsylvania, for anybody who doesn't know. And I was just about to graduate, and my buddy Johnny wanted to get together to jam with some people that I hadn't met before. And one of those per se people was Ben Giles, and we had a couple other guys in the band at the time. But what we started sounded really, really good. We really liked what was happening, and it was a happy little accident that occurred right before I was about to graduate. So we kept things going, and we lost some members over time due to other, personal differences and other things. But the core three of us, Ben, Johnny, and myself, we kept things going, and the snowball started rolling once we got opening act set, like the Chameleon Club, for example, playing at Tubby's on a regular basis, and just kept going until we got to the point where we were nationally touring and co-writing with platinum artists, and it's fun. Enjoying the time that we've been out and about. So
Right, and you guys have 2 albums plus your EP, right?
that's correct. Yes, we have an EP, which is a 4-track EP that's out, which was our very first release, and then our first full-length album was From Fight to the Flight, and we just came out with a new record called Reflection, and that released on April 1st. Yes, there it is. Look at that.
That's my autograph copy sitting right there.
Cool, man. Awesome. And we actually had a chance to, what's funny is we released the album by surprise. We didn't, nobody knew, we didn't have any hype or PR, and we simply released the album on April 1st, just like as a surprise thing. And what was the funniest thing about it was we had a show 1 week later, and every single person that came out to the show knew all the words to the new album, which was a little bit of a whoa, that was right. Quite a surprise.
Right, now you guys started touring nationally. Tell me a little bit about the national tour. What was that whole experience like?
That was a really interesting experience. It was very varied. There were a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and it takes a lot of grit, a lot of endurance, and a lot of positive energy to get through tour, especially when you're just getting started. So if there's any band that's just getting started, just get ready for a lot of challenges, a lot of personal obstacles that you if you can get through it, you can get through anything. Touring is going to test your mental fortitude for sure, because you can go from playing in front of 400 people to playing in front of 4. So it all depends on where you are. It depends on the night, and that can even happen to highly acclaimed national and international acts as well. It's a fun game, the touring life. So, but
now I remember seeing on Facebook around when you guys were touring, you guys would just sit there and play at a Walmart for a couple hours while you're on downtime or something like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We would actually on our off days, or if we had to spend the night, the one place that you go, and this is actually an unwritten rule among bands, is that you go to Walmart and camp out there for the night. Not necessarily, smiled upon management or anything like that. People are like, you're not supposed to do this, but nobody ever checks, and we're always just fine, and we have access, and they want you to buy their stuff. So and obviously we're gonna go in there and get sandwiches and a Nerf swords or whatever else. So it's a great little hack. We would go to Walmart to stay overnight, and we were very lucky because we have an old diesel bus And with old diesel buses, you can keep them running for all night and have no problems. So that means air conditioning and heat throughout.
Didn't someone bust the window out in that thing right before you guys left?
That's right. You see, let's put it this way: without saying any names or to protect the innocent. Let's put it that way. One of the we had it parked outside one of our houses, and the neighbor of that person's house happens to be questionable when it comes to the law of the land, and he has some questionable associates. So those said questionable associates, we think, actually smashed out the windows, thinking that it was his vehicle rather than ours. So there was probably some reason as to why they did that, either a bad business deal, what have you. Just let your mind kind of imagine the scenario. But yeah, we got misidentified. Our vehicle got misidentified as a crappy vehicle. So, and it certainly looks crappy on the outside, but it looks very nice and luxurious on the inside, especially when it's clean. So. But yeah. That's how that happened.
So you guys were just on tour like a month ago, weren't you?
Yes, that's correct. We did go back out on tour a month ago, and that was a fun little run. We enjoyed it, but after this last run, we've decided to just come home and take care of a few things before we decide to go back out on the road for a long period of time again. The key thing here is that we want to go out on the road again when it makes sense, not just for the sake of going out on the road.
Right. So let's talk about favorite songs.
Okay.
Out of the songs that you guys have made, what's your favorite, if you have?
That's like asking someone who has kids who their favorite kid is. It's kind of like it's hard to say because it's like, every creation has its own little different flair. I mean, from the new album, I have to say that, Rowdy and Reckless is always fun because that's usually at the end of the set, and usually that's the one that gets people going for the most part. But one of my favorites, at least to play, energy-wise, is The Devil's Choir, which is the last track on the album. It's the big, epic 7-minute long, escapade. Right. And it's a lot of fun to play live, and that's usually something that we end with on an encore if we have a headlining show.
Right. I think we know Ben's favorite song on the album, but...
I mean, he's Doorbell is probably the favorite one, but I'll tell you what, obviously there's Pops, and that's a very, very heartfelt and very very meaningful song, especially for Ben and for anybody that listens to it and connects with it. So,
because Ben's dad died from cancer right before you guys went on tour, didn't he?
That's let me think when that happened. I'm trying to remember. It was actually right before we recorded the album, so it was a little before that, I believe, or at least it was before we released the album.
Right.
And then we went out for. So it was a really rough time, and we're still feeling the repercussions of that happening, and so. Yeah, and that song says a lot about it, but we're sticking through it.
Right.
And keep supporting Ben as much as we possibly can.
So let's talk for a little bit about the glorious world of YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
Now,
YouTube's a great place.
Right. A lot of things on there, but I was looking over your channel, and there's something about it that just drew me towards it.
Which channel is this? Is this the Small Town Titans channel or the
your personal channel? Yeah, your personal channel.
Cool. Nice.
Well, I will put both of the channels down in the description of the video.
Sweet.
But let's talk about your personal channel. What exactly do you do over there?
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, I post solo performances. Sometimes I just record material, like either of songs that I really like or songs that I feel like I could put my own little spin on. And on top of that, I also give voice coaching advice. So I work, as you said before earlier in the interview, I do work as a voice coach. That's something that I do primarily when I'm not out on tour or performing on a regular basis. And it's something that I do online. It's something I do in 2 locations when I'm home, one in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, one in Lancaster. And it's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy vocal coaching. And I love seeing what people are able to accomplish when you give somebody advice or tell them to do something or give them a method to follow through on and practice. It is absolutely awesome to see them implement that and flourish and thrive. It's just it's brings a warm, toasty feeling to my heart and soul. That's why that's a big reason why that channel exists, because I want people to be able to experience the same joy and happiness that I've found in performing and being able to accomplish those things, as well as the joy and happiness that my students have found doing the same thing.
Right, and it's not just like vocal coaching for performance or like singing. It's just speaking, right. Learn how to speak. Well, apparently I need to learn how to speak. But, but it's for anybody giving a public speech or just wanting to be able to control their breathing more when speaking.
Exactly. Anybody can benefit from some type of voice coaching, and that's a big misconception about voice instruction, is that people think that it's only exclusive to singers and theater majors and opera singers, what have you, and that's actually not the case. Anybody that uses their voice on a frequent basis, either doing videos like you do, or anybody that's working in an entrepreneurial aspect who's speaking to people all day on the phone, pitching their ideas in a business meeting, presenting their ideas in front of a bunch of people. Public speaking is a very important skill that anyone can acquire, but it's so important to understand the mechanics of your voice and how it works and how your body and your breath have to do with that. And it's very simple to understand, and I try to make the ideas and concepts as simple and as effective as possible, without being overwhelming. But it's just I think that's a really important message to get out there, is that it's not just for singers. It's for anybody who uses their voice, and anyone can benefit from it.
Right, and I think it speaks to it that you don't just talk about whatever you feel like talking about voice or anything. You take specific questions that you get from either each video or anything anyone asks you that doesn't know about, speaking or things like that, and you break it down as simple as you can.
Exactly. That's exactly correct, Austin. When I go online and I do this video, it's not just me talking about things. It's based on questions that I get from viewers, from people that I speak to on Reddit. Reddit's a great place to be able to speak on.
Reddit's just a great place. Period.
In general, it's pretty awesome. I love Reddit, and so I answer people from there. I stayed in touch with a couple of people from there publicly, and it really brings the focus on the people that are asking the questions, rather than me just saying things that I've experienced. I want to address what people want to hear about, rather than just curating the material on my own. It's really important and to do that. And the name of the series is FAQOV, which stands for Frequently Asked Questions on Voice. So for anybody who is interested in that, and I'm sure Austin, you'll put a link in the description of the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
awesome.
Let's talk about, now my channel is centered around gaming and gaming material.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk about that.
Sweet.
Are there any types of games that you played as a kid, or you still play today, that had any sort of influence on your life as a whole?
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I'm not that much of a gamer at this stage of my life. I'm like a very old decrepit man that plays Sudoku and Tetris once in a while. And it's just like that's the extent of most of my gaming. But I absolutely love playing Madden, all the Maddens with my best friend Dave, and that's always fun. And but I also there was a whole bunch of Sega games that I used to play as a kid, and some of them were like Desert Strike, Urban Strike, Jungle Strike. Those are so much fun. Grand Theft Auto, all the Grand Theft Autos have always been so much fun. Especially with cheat codes.
I think it's just having fun doing stuff we're not normally allowed to do.
Exactly, what you're not supposed to do. Yeah, it's just sort of fun, and everybody thinks that you're going to turn into a bad kid if you do that. I mean, I turned out okay. I haven't, I don't plan on jumping any old ladies whatsoever at any point in my life whatsoever, no matter how desperate things get.
Yeah, I don't think I plan on running any old lady with a walker over while she's trying to cross the street.
No. Only in the realm of imagination. But there was this one game that I never got to finish, and it irks me to this day. I just there's something on my bucket list, and an obscure Sega game called Shining Force. The Shining, and I was so good at that game, and I got so far, and now I'm stuck. There's one place that I'm supposed to try to find this, and I'm talking to this monk giving me this clue, and I keep just going forth, back and forth, the same old thing that I keep this thing I'm supposed to find in order to advance into the next part of the game, and it irks me. It's making me mad thinking about it right now. All I want to do. Finish that game. I want to just, and not even finish the game. I just want to go past that point, just once, And unfortunately, my Sega doesn't work anymore. The power supply isn't giving enough of a circuit to it. So if I find a Sega Genesis that I can get my hands on that works, I'm gonna play Shining Force 2, and I'm gonna beat that. That's gonna happen before I die.
Just like you're 80 years old, you're about to die. Yeah, Someone get me my Sega.
Get me the Sega! I need to pass this level on Shining Force 2. Shining Force 2!
Yeah, I can definitely picture that happening. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, my voice will.
I tell you what, if I find one, I'll definitely see if I can't get it for you.
Awesome, thank you. Or somebody to repair the one that I already have. That would be fun.
But now, I think the last thing we got to talk about is your vocal coaching.
Okay.
Where can people find information on lessons, or because you said you do it online and in person?
Yes, you can find all that information at thevocalblueprint.com, which redirects to my personal website. On the homepage, you can find there's a button right on the homepage that says schedule a lesson. You can go there, click on some of the options that are prompted, and get in touch that way if you are interested in voice lessons. Like I said, this is for anybody that uses their voice, and especially if you have other people that are into gaming and are talking about what they're doing while they're playing the game. I know that there's a lot of people that have a tendency to do that. Look at Mark Plyer. He's one of the most successful gaming communicators and RPGers out there. So and he has a really good speaking voice, and he knows how to use his voice to be able to communicate. So for that's a perfect example of somebody who's taken the time to learn the craft of vocal communication, and that's so gamers are probably who go on YouTube, go on Twitch on a regular basis would benefit greatly from getting some type of voice coaching, so that way they can preserve their voices while playing for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours upon hours.
Oh, right, because try running a 12-hour charity live stream and have to stop every 5 minutes. It's
you don't want to destroy your voice while you're commentating on what you're doing. So that's important. That's very important.
And because I know that most YouTubers, when they do this, they don't just sit there and record for half an hour at a time. Like, I'm sitting at my desk for sometimes 6 hours at a time, because I would need to get everything done for like an entire week, because you're busy and I'm busy, and because I think I've got 10,000 things to do yet after this interview before I even go to bed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's quite a few things on the back burner right now that I'm doing like right now. As much as I want to talk about it, I just cannot talk about it until it's done. You know, it's one of those
Right.
things where it's like you announce intentions rather than results, and results are much more important. You know, it's just like, yeah. So I know exactly what you mean, dude.
Like, you want to tell us where you'll be, but you just can't.
But I just can't. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I can't tell you what's next, just for the sake until things get announced. So.
Right. So.
Yes, sir.
All right, Phil. Thanks for joining me, man. It was
Austin,
fun.
thank you so much for having me, brother.
Yep, not a problem, man. All right, so you can catch Phil's music with the Small Town Titans on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your music. It's most likely there. I listen to it on Spotify all the time, and I bought the physical album and the digital album as well.
Man, you're well stacked, my friend. That's awesome.
But make sure you can visit thevocalblueprint.com to schedule lessons with Phil. I know I will at some point, but time will tell. All right, Phil.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for joining me, man.
Hey, no problem, Austin. Have a great day.
See ya.